Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you guys are well, wherever it is that you may be around the world. We are here to discuss the game yesterday between Aston Villa and Chelsea. Chelsea 2, Aston Villa 0. I was at the game. I got up early, made my way down there, got there around 12 o'clock. We're going to be talking about that as well. Got some highlights of Mount's goal. We're going to talk about Mason Mount. We're going to talk about Mr. Kepa in goal as well. We're going to open up the lines as well, get you guys involved. We've got a couple of things to go through at the top, along with the topics, player ratings to do along with this as well. And like I said, we are going to open up the lines later in the show. But I need you guys to make sure that you're smashing them likes, guys. Let's get these likes up as quickly as we can. Please share on your socials as well. On the road to 10,000 subscribers on GNA TV. Chelsea Fan TV are on the road to 200k subscribers as well. So please make sure that we're smashing the likes and sharing on all our socials. And before we move forward, let's cue the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you guys are well, wherever it is that you may be around the world on this Monday morning. Chelsea played yesterday and they got the win again. And we're going to be talking about that win into more detail, talking about the run of form that Chelsea are on, talking about the players, the player performances yesterday as well. Lots to get into, I think, lots to get into, along with, obviously, like we said, getting people involved, having their thoughts and says as well. It's nice to see people slowly coming through as well. Make sure that we're all hitting them likes, guys, getting them likes up as well. Let's say hello to people in the chat as well. Fator, nice to see you. Just pump up the lights, guys. It's minerals galore around here, literally. It was definitely a good occasion for Mr. Money Mace as well, who stepped up in the game yesterday for Chelsea, helping Chelsea to the victory required. To the victory that's required. Sorry, I just got a random message. I was like, what's going on here? Brian, nice to see you as well. Jason in the house as well. We need to talk about Havertz, is what Jason's saying as well. Damon Duff says, what's more mysterious, Bermuda Triangle or Kai Havertz's best position at Chelsea? Well, it's a weird one, isn't it? We're going to talk about Kai Havertz today as well. We'll get that involved. Lewis is here as well. He says, Damon Duff, please don't criticise our false 9, false 10, 1, 2. Oh, God, here we go. Anyway, Lewis, yeah. Big up to OG in the house as well. Lewis is just a big hater of Kai Havertz. And look, no, don't get me wrong. Look, he's not playing well at the moment. We're going to talk about that in a bit and get into what I think about Kai Havertz and other individuals. He only played half the game yesterday as well. So, yeah, let's get into it because I want to talk about the run. I want to talk about the run that Graham Potter is currently on at the moment, which is quite impressive. Obviously, he's now won 4 consecutive games whilst keeping a clean sheet for the first time since December 2016. Potter remains unbeaten with Chelsea currently at the moment as well. And, you know, what were the real keys to yesterday's performance? It was not so much about the overall performance and how we played, because I don't think we played particularly very well. I just think that certain individuals stepped up, certain individuals, you know, took their chances, and other individuals, to be honest, you know, didn't do too much so. And when you look at someone like Cucurella, you know, I thought Ben Chilwell struggled in the first half. You know, it's one of them cases of, you know, we're going to have games like this where we're not going to play well. But the biggest question is, can we still be solid? Can we all obviously keep the clean sheet, which allows us to gain points? But also, it's about how can we win this game, even when we're not playing well. And we can see that Arsenal were doing it yesterday as well. It's still currently winning games. And you look at what we did yesterday, and it's one of them, isn't it? You know, and Graham Potter, when you look at all the games that up to now since he's been at Chelsea, this was probably not the best. And you could probably, you know, kind of look at the players and what we had available, etc. And I get that, but it's one of them ones where, you know, you lose Reece James, the balance is gone. You're asking Raheem Sterling to play as a wing back. I didn't think that would work anyway. You know, we decided to play Cucurella as a left centre back. We've seen him play there before, and he done an okay job. This time round, not so much. Didn't work. You know, not for me anyway. You know, the balance just wasn't there. Big up to Andreas in the house. Kepa was a true demon yesterday. What a comeback. Why are we in the mud? What, because he had one very good game? Is that all you're living on? Is that all you're living on, Matt? Is this what this fan base has come to with their stinky agendas? Jem has his scarf in the background, so hell never criticise. Yeah, I will criticise him, even with the scarf in the background. I've always been one to criticise. I'm not going to sit here and not talk about Kai Havertz. You know, at the end of the day, he didn't have a great first half. He got taken off. But at the same time, when you look at the performances of the forward line in general, it was very quiet. And I said to you yesterday as well that he played off the left. He tried to make some runs behind. Chilwell tried to pull over the top. Yes, he lost the ball a couple of times. And he shouldn't have. But Sterling and Aubameyang were very quiet as well. You know, it wasn't like we were all playing well and one wasn't. The forward just wasn't ticking. You know, it just was not ticking. You forgot to mention Kai as a fourth choice goalkeeper option. Very fun. What are you coming to say? What is it that you're coming to say, mate? What is there that you could possibly say, Matt, after one game? Relax. Relax, mate. Relax. Mount stepped up for Chelsea. I mean, he can dive a lot. He might be a better goalkeeper. He can. Yeah, that's true. Just overall wasn't the best game. Mount and Kepa carried us, is what London will always be blue is saying as well. Kukurea and Sterling were horrendous. Kepa and Mount fantastic. As far as Havertz, we should sell him, is what Josh is saying. What his position he has too weak on the ball. We'll talk about him in a bit anyway. But going back to what we were saying about Graham Potter, you know, good start from him. When you look at where he is with things and how and what he's done in such a short space of time, he's doing well. You know, winning games is the most biggest thing that you can do. This is the biggest thing that he could do, winning games right now, and he's doing that at the moment. At the end of the day, bigger tests will come, and there will be moments throughout the season where we will potentially lose games, or we may struggle to play at the level that we know that we can play at. So, you know, and then it's going to be down to him and his managerial skills and getting the players, you know, through hard games and moments where we will lose games, you know, and when we do lose games, it's not going to be about, when we lose games, it's going to be about obviously the tactics and obviously how quick he is with subs and how we play on the day. But also it's going to be about the players. And I'm still very critical about these crop of players that we have. I'm not still fully sure if I trust the players that we have to hand. But at the same time, from what they're doing at the moment and how they're doing things, you know, not much to moan about really, other than individual performances, muddied by Mount and Kepa. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So muddied. Support Chelsea and we've become muddied of our own players. Let's move on to the games that we have won under Graham Potter up to this point. Well, these are the games. These are the games. Because we beat Aston Villa 2-0. We beat AC Milan 2-0. Beat Wolves 3-0. Beat AC Milan 3-0. And we beat Palace 2-1. And when you look at the number of goals scored, well, you've got 2, 4, 6... 9, 12 goals, roughly 12 goals in 5 games. We're scoring goals, you know, and it's goals around the pitch. Mason Mount's contributed, Aubameyang contributed, Sterling's contributed, Havertz has contributed, Conor Gallagher has contributed as well. You know, that's a good sign. That is a good sign that we're starting to see that we're taking our chances. And yesterday's game wasn't all about the forward line because we weren't creating enough. We created barely anything, if anything, really, when you think about it. But when we had them moments, you know, a certain individual stepped up. And that certain individual being Mason Mount, along with Kepa. You know, along with Kepa, especially when you look at Kepa and the way he performed in the first half. You know, it could have easily been 2-3-1. You know, it could have easily been 2-3-1 to Villa in the first half if they'd have took their chances. And the fact that Kepa kept us in the game with the lead, and then Mason Mount goes on to get the second goal was just perfect, you know. Guys, over 60 of you here. Big up to every single one of you guys. Thank you for tuning in early this morning as well. We are going to start trying to get back into the rhythm of doing streams again as well. I know I've been missing for the last sort of week or so with holidays and going Milan and whatever else, but we are going to get back to the old ways of streaming as well. Big up to Simon in the house. Nice to see you, bro. He said Kepa was good. He was good. He was good. And going on to Kepa, obviously he was the man of the match yesterday. People were asking, who is the man of the match? Should it be Mason Mount? Should it have been Kepa? I'll ask you guys the same question in the chat. Who was your man of the match yesterday? See, Chelsea awarded it to Kepa. And listen, I've been quite critical of the guy, you know, and I still hold my reserve judgments against him. But if he can continue performing like he did yesterday in that game and can kick on with it, well, I'm hoping he doesn't get tested as much as he did yesterday. But you know, if he can be that goalie, because we know he's good with his feet, he can play the ball out well, you know, plays balls long, you know. But it was about the shot stopping, the saving, being commanding. And yesterday, he made some absolutely unbelievable saves. And from where I was sitting, we were there, you know, Lewis and I as well. We were literally on that side. You could see clearly that some of the saves, and the one with the header from like 2 yards out, where he sort of pushed it over the bar, it gave me sort of the images of the Peter Cech save against Liverpool. I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember when Andy Carroll had that header in the final, and I think Peter Cech sort of pulled it out the goal? It reminded me of that, the way he scrambled across the goal and flicked it out. It was a great save. It was a great save. And then there was the multiple saves where he gets down low, saves one, gets down low again the second time, which I thought was the best save of them all, and then gets up quickly, and you know, and you can only go on it. And confidence is key, right? Confidence is key to anyone. Doesn't matter what position you play in football. If confidence is there, if your confidence is there, then you know it's an important thing. It's a very important thing. And for Kepa at the moment, I keep saying this, there's no reason for a goalie like Kepa to be dropped at the moment, because he's not doing anything wrong. He took his chance. He's been given the opportunity, and he's doing his bit. You know, he's doing his bit. And me and Lewis have said the same thing when it comes to Kepa. You know, we've been waiting to see him become tested. We're waiting to see when he's been asked to do a lot more. You know, because in the last couple of games on the Grand Pot, I don't think we've seen that. We know he's good with the ball, his feet, and whatever. But yesterday was a good example of him being challenged multiple times, and he stepped up. And I can't knock a player that plays for my football club who's doing his job. It's, you know, and not doing the opposite. So at the end of the day, well done to Kepa. I know Matt's keeps banging on about him. I mean, Lewis, Kepa's performance, was it a man of match performance for you, or do you think Mount should have got it?
Oh, no. Definitely should have been Kepa. Like we've said enough times, we've been waiting for him to get tested, and he finally did get tested. Passed with flying colours. Like, if he wasn't already guaranteed the #1, he definitely is now. In terms of Mount, like, his performance was good, and by far away, he was one of our better players. But let's be real, both the goals were kind of handed to us on a silver play. It is what it is. Like, you scored the goals, we move on. But Kepa's the one that saved us, not Mount. Mount was in the right position for the first goal. And the second one, no one want to say it, shocking goalkeeping positioning. But we move. We score 2 goals, we move forward. It is what it is. But
you can't knock Mount for that. You can't knock Mount for that.
No, we're not mocking Mount for it. But I'm saying Kepa was the one that was decisive for us in those moments. Whereas, like, we were saved through Kepa. Mount was just managed to make the most out of shocking defensive work, which is more like, thank God someone did. That's the way I see it.
Fair enough. I mean,
like, the performance was poor. Let's call it what it is. The performance was poor. We just take the 3 points and we move.
Yeah. I agree. There was this funny, video on Twitter that I thought I'd show you guys. It's quite funny, actually. So this is Kepa when he was bad to now to when he was good.
Expecto Patronum! Baby,
that was magic.
Well, no way, was that actually Graham Potter?
It was Graham Potter.
You know, the blow up has been mad. Oh my gosh.
I thought that was fucking quality, you know. Oh mate, because we call him Harry Potter anyway. I just thought with him doing all that with the Harry Potter.
That is fucking unreal. But yeah, Kepa's turnaround has been brilliant to watch. It's good that we have a goalkeeper we can actually have a bit of confidence.
Well, let's not go over the top here. And this is why I wanted to say this. And people will say, "Oh, Jem, but why are you doing this? He's playing well." Yeah, he's playing well, and I get it. Yeah, and he deserves. And I've said it. He doesn't deserve to be dropped. But let me rewind you. Let me rewind you back, Lewis, to when Tuchel first came in and Mendy was in goal, and that period of games where Mendy was unbelievable, making multiple saves and doing his bit. you know. But the thing with Mendy is he was consistent with it. I felt he was consistent with it for about over half a season, and then we sort of dipped. For me, it's all good to see Kepa doing what he's doing. He saves, winning us games. It's won us the points, and I don't knock him for that. But for me, it's still the consistency. Are we going to get that old, you know, that moment with him, or have their moments with him, you know? So for me, it's like good, great. You know, he's still doing. He won us points today, but do I fully trust him? Is he the real Chelsea #1? Is he like giving us the Kudicini, Peter Cech vibes for the next 3 years? That's the question mark.
I don't know with either of them. That's why I'm just more like, whoever plays well, just put him in. But I just need someone who can give me a bit of confidence so we can move from there. You never know. Kepa might be brilliant from now towards the end of the season. He might be crap in a few games. I don't know. It's just about, can I trust him right now? And that's it.
Yeah. Well, he has no reason not to be dropped, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but he does deserve to be where he is or what he's doing. You know, he deserves. He hasn't done anything wrong to not be trusted, and Mendy will hold bench until that changes, and that is what it is. You know, so I understand that. I have no problem with that. You know, for me, it's just, can he be like where Chelsea want to be and where we want to go is to be challenging for titles for the next couple of years. Yeah. So with Kepa in goal or Mendy in goal, are they the perfect goalie to bring consistency throughout a 38-game season and do what they did yesterday? That's the big question mark.
I don't know if either of them are.
That's the question mark. Yeah, that's the only real thing I say about them with him. Shaq says, big up to Shaq as well. He says, should we be worried about right wing back position now that James is injured for 8 weeks? What's your thoughts on that, Lewis?
Like Sterling looked okay there, but didn't really seem that impactful. Ruben, he can have good games there. He can have bad games there. He's not really that consistent. We're done. We're struggling without James in general in terms of right wing back position. If we play with a right back, regardless, like we struggle whenever Reece James isn't on the pitch. So, I guess it's up to Potter to try and help us get out of that. But I feel like overall our creativity is a bit better now that we have Graham Potter in, because we're a bit more progressive. I think the players take a bit more risks, so that kind of negates it a little bit.
Do you not think
we are still going to miss him?
From the overall game that you saw yesterday, did you think we played well though, specifically? Because I just felt it, for me, like you could have put Thomas Tuchel in that, as the manager in that, under that performance, and I wouldn't have told the difference between the two. Is what I'm trying to get at in terms of the way we played. Like, it wasn't any great terms of transitional play, patterns of play, movement off the ball. Do you get what I mean? Like, it just felt...
The only difference between Tuchel and Potter was the subs. I think the subs helped shore the game up for us, whereas with Tuchel, I don't know whether he makes those changes or whether they even have the desired impact. That's the only difference. I mean, in terms of the way we played, it did feel a bit like the last few weeks of Tuchel. It really did. Not a lot of positives to take from it, except Kepa. Literally, I think Kepa's the only positive I can take from that performance. That and Jorginho coming off the bench, shoring up the midfield. Koulibaly coming on, shoring up the defence. That's it. Other than that, it weren't a great performance. We didn't play well. Kind of lucky to go out there with a win, but we'll take it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, what do we do with this win-back scenario at the moment, though? Where do we go with this? Obviously, Reece James is out for 8 weeks. I mean, Azpilicueta was pulled in there. We saw Raheem Sterling play there yesterday as well. I mean...
Just have to experiment. That's all we can do, because I don't know if any of them are the answers for us long-term. Asby, you can't play him regularly. Loftus-Cheek isn't consistent. Sterling is too vital for us in the final third for us to be pushing him into wing-back, personally. But is what it is. Is what it is. But even on that, Sterling hasn't been that great over the last few games.
Yeah. I mean, Sterling for me was awful. We're going to talk about player ratings in a second as well. Obviously, Chelsea says needs to beat United, then we will trust Kepa. Is his thoughts on that? I mean, I don't think even just one game does it for me, to be honest. But we move. Big up.
Keep saving us games. Keep having games where it's like, okay, we won this because of Kepa. That's all I need to build more confidence, because I was just okay with him being in the lineup before yesterday's game.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I do agree with that as well. Sorry, I just keep getting blooming messages at the moment and trying to get them out. So over 100 of you guys here. Big up to every single one of you guys that are here at the
Actually, yeah,
moment.
Andrew. Yeah, fair enough. That's another difference.
What's he saying? Let's go through these quickly before we move on. Grail says his first half awful, especially on our left side. Second half, Potter's tactical changes slowly gave us. So what were the key? Let's go this before we talk about the players. What were the key points to Chelsea getting the wins there? Obviously, we know Kepa was one of them. Mason Mount being another. Do you feel there's any? Do you think Graham Potter deserves to be another? Like, do you feel that the win yesterday was more around?
He brought on Jorginho, he brought on Koulibaly, and he took off Havertz. That's the changes I saw that helped us.
Yeah, fair enough. But you know what? And we're going to talk about Havertz anyway in the show as well and have this conversation. But, you know, Aubameyang and Sterling were poor yesterday. Like, I know we're talking about Kai Havertz.
Sterling was at right wing back, though. It's like, if we're going to even put him at wing back, at least put him on the left.
How poor was he in the second half as well? He was closer to Aubameyang. They played like more as a two.
He was making more chances in that second half.
They were just walking around, both of them. They weren't relieving pressure off the defense.
Aubameyang, like, I didn't think he was that great. I didn't think he was. Like, he could have done a lot better too. But at least with Aubameyang and Sterling, I keep saying I know what I can get out of them.
I just prefer
if they have bad games, if they have good games, I know they have experience. I know what we can get out of them if we put them in the right positions.
Yeah,
Havertz, whatever you put him in, he sucks.
Well, we played Havertz. We played Havertz. I wouldn't say he sucks, but I mean, we played him.
He sucks.
No, come on, it's not that.
He sucks.
We played him off the left, yesterday in a free. Obviously, it didn't work too well. I actually thought Chilwell and Cucurella had stinkers anyway. So
Cucurella was shockingly bad.
In terms of supply from them two down that wing, it was pretty much non-existent. I think they tried to do it a couple times in the first 10-15 minutes where Chilwell played the ball over the top of Matty Cash and Havertz ran behind him to try and stretch him. And then, you know, there was moments where Havertz picks the ball up and he loses it and he was too weak on it. And I agree with that. You know, he has to be better with the ball at his feet. He had a good moment where Sterling hit the bar. I don't know if you remember where he sort of ran through and he shook him off.
I was surprised he actually showed strength on the ball, though.
Right, well, you know, but that's what I'm saying. That, like, for me, it wasn't awful because he had moments in the limited time he was on the
because of that one moment.
Yeah, but then at the same time,
why do we baby this?
No, it's not babying. I'm not
he
saying
made one run, so we're saying it was an awful performance.
If Potter would have took Aubameyang off and just put Havertz up front, I wouldn't have had a problem with it because he didn't look up for it. If he took Sterling off and left Havertz on the pitch, I still wouldn't have had a problem with it because they didn't look. For me, the whole game
would have been more likely to get us goals than Havertz.
Jem, he was left up front himself after Aubameyang was subbed. Yeah, but that was at a later stage when the surfer. I'm talking about when Aubameyang and Sterling were meant to be the two up front leading the line, and we were getting, you know, tons of pressure on us. And I think it was 10-15 minutes we couldn't get out. And again, you know, we had moments where we had better balance because Koulibaly was there eventually, but you know they were on us again. And every time we knocked the ball forward, there was no runs. I was watching them. I was getting so pissed off of them. But let's move on anyway. What does Shaq say? This is why I am scared about James' injury because he is the key player that feeds players like Sterling and Aubameyang. True.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well,
true. And now we're putting Sterling in that position instead, which is the problem for us.
Brentford is going to be more.
Sterling looked a lot better in the second half, even if he didn't score. He looked a lot better. He got into better positions for us. Should have finished a few of his chances. Like Sterling's finishing can be annoying at times, but he's still one of our better finishers. So it's like he's one of the last players you should be going at for that.
Going back to Kepa quickly, obviously another clean sheet for him under Aston Villa. 7 saves, 79% pass accuracy, 4 diving saves, 5 saves inside the box, 2 punches, 4 throws, 7 recoveries. And I'd say most of it done in the first half than the second. I mean, he made a couple saves, not as many as he did in the first because he was called upon. But, overall, what a performance. And, I can't argue him not being given the man of the match. Brentford midweek's going to be a big challenge. I don't think that'll be an easy one. But I think that we do need to start having a little conversation about someone else who seems to be slowly picking up form. And are we becoming more reliant on him again in Mason Mount? Because yesterday I thought he had a good game, an overall game. He worked hard off the ball. He pressed high. He tried to link up with a forward line, which was non-existent from start to finish for me, in my opinion. I want to see Broha on the pitch earlier. I keep saying this. I don't want to see Broha coming on 85 minutes. he could have easily been
has to start the next game for me.
Well, but my thing was, right, Mason Mount scores on the 70th odd minute. We had 20 odd minutes left. At that point, does Sterling really need to be up front on his own? Throw Brower on. He's a striker. You know, give him minutes. Like, we've got a third from him. At least he would have had a run out, gave him different problems. I just feel, you know, Potter could have utilised Brower a bit better in this game. But going back to Mason Mount, even him to a degree, can he have a break? Do we have to leave him on the pitch for the full 90 minutes? He gets his second goal. Take him off. We've got games midweek, but he was good. You know, and, you know, I don't think he started well.
Play him for 45 minutes or something like we did against Milan. Maybe that
I don't
would work.
For the way he's going to be.
You could even rotate with Gallagher, because Gallagher also is very deserving of a start.
100%. 100%. Gallagher is another one that is slowly stepping into the role. He looks more comfortable in the position that he's asked to be played in. I thought, in my opinion, when Gallagher came on the pitch, I thought we actually looked a bit better in midfield. Personally, I just felt he got more involved. You know, I thought he had quite a decent game, but
yeah, definitely.
Mason,
that's another reason why Potter's subs helped us in that second half. Gallagher, I think, came on for Kai. Koulibaly came on for was it Aubameyang? I think Aubameyang came on for a defender, didn't he?
Koulibaly come on for Havertz, I think, didn't he? And then, oh no, did he? Yeah.
Then it must have been Gallagher for Aubameyang then.
Gallagher come on for Aubameyang, yeah, that's it. And then we got this.
Fucking vloggers.
Mate, what a game that was. What a finish though. And I know you're saying about the whole like position of the goalie. I think if Martinez doesn't take a step to his right like he did, which completely
it goes straight at him. This is the thing. I thought it was a screamer from the stands too. But you look at the replay, that is shocking goalkeeping. It's shit goalkeeping. But we'll take it. It
is shit goalkeeping, but at the same time, I think when you look at the way he dipped it up and brought it back down, you know, it was still a good finish. Like, I know as much as we say,
it's decent technique. It's decent technique, but it is poor goalkeeping. This is what it is.
You know, and we're going to bring up a quick stat because I know Minerals Johnny goes on about it a lot, but we've got a stat here saying that Mason Mount has the same amount of goals as Frank Lampard after 137 games for Chelsea. After 137 games for Chelsea, 31 goals for Lampard, 31 goals for Mason Mount. Yeah, you know, again, I don't like it when we do this too much, Lewis, where we compare it.
Exactly. This is my problem. And like I like Johnny as well, but my thing is, you are allowed to criticize players, and if they turn around and they play well afterwards, you're allowed to praise them afterwards. It's not really a thing where it's like, oh, he's mudded you, he's proved you wrong after your criticism. No, you criticize players if they play poorly, and then you praise them when they play well. Simple as that. Mount deserved all the criticism he got at the start of the season. I don't take any of it back. He was one of our worst players. He's now turned it around. He's getting regular goals and assists, and he's performing a lot better. And he deserves a praise as a result of that. Doesn't mean everyone who criticised him before is in the mud. Because his performances deserved criticism.
Yeah, exactly. And I think criticism is important, and I agree with it. Not, you know, when players are not playing well, they deserve to be criticised. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And if he took the criticism and he used that to help him improve and become more motivated, more power to him. If anything, that's all the more reason why players should be criticised.
I think the problem when you have a certain agenda for a player, or you just say agenda, when you're closer to a player or you like a player more emotionally than others, which does happen across our fan base, I think it's very hard for them to see or accept criticism, because when they see criticism, they see it as like you don't like the player, but it's not that.
But that's stupid.
That's wrong, isn't it? That's the problem. That's what I'm saying with the fan base. We do that too much. It should be that. No, you're right. What you're saying is I love the player and I still love the player, but he's been shit the last 3 games. He needs to step up. That's what I wanted
Mount to turn it around as well, but it's like, I'm not going to sit here and blindly back terrible football consistently on a weekly basis. I'm not doing that. You do that, you become Arsenal. Yeah,
literally.
Well, past Arsenal. Maybe.
Let's not talk about Arsenal at the moment, because they're leading the line at the moment. Talking about winning the title 10 games in, I find it funny, to be honest. But that's another story for another day.
Sick.
Well, they're not going to be winning any titles. I mean, I saw a gal, went on a gal's show yesterday, and he asked a question in the chat saying, "Can Arsenal win the title or something?" So I wrote back saying, you don't sit there after 10 games and start talking about titles. You just don't do that. Chelsea were top of the league all the way to December last season. We got some injuries, and look what happened.
Daniel, he didn't get better when Tuchel got fired. We didn't forget that Palace performance. We didn't forget the Palace game.
Now that's cap. There's levels of criticism, and our whole team was terrible under Tuchel, and he didn't get better with criticism. He got better when Tuchel got fired. Come on, Daniel. I know much you love him.
We didn't forget the Palace 0 out of 10. We didn't forget, bro.
So Potter obviously spoke about Mason Mount, obviously being a big influence and whatever else, but still we haven't extended his contract, from what I understand. It's something that's under talks, is what Fabrizio Romano is saying at the moment, and it is high priority for Chelsea. I don't see this guy going anywhere, to be honest. I think he'll just be a player that probably signs to Chelsea for the rest of his life, Mason Mount, providing that he's happy and nothing happens to Chelsea. But yeah,
they're just waiting for him to hit good form, and then they'll hit him with a 6+1 deal. You already know it's coming.
So we're going to come to you in a second because we are going to do the match ratings, but I've really just got to quickly fly through some quick boring stuff, which is the match stats. Obviously, 41% to their 58. 58% to their 41 we had yesterday. So we did. Apparently, we dominated the game. We didn't feel like it with the amount of chances that they had in the first half. They had 18 shots compared to our 8 in the game. 4 on target for us.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's pretty stinky, man. It's pretty stinky. It's always good to look at the stats. Our passing percentage was 85 to their 80. Tackles was 66 to their 41. They won more aerial duels than we did, with 66% to our 33%. We committed pretty much near enough the same fouls in 12 and 11. And we got more yellow cards than they did, when they should have actually got some yellow cards yesterday. There were some dirty tackles. I remember one on, who was it on? It was exactly the same thing, and they got booked. I can't remember who it was. Someone at the back got booked. And then they went and done the exact same thing at the other end, and he just gave us a free kick and no yellow card. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, referees are referees. We move.
Do you see when we got the corner? Do you remember when we got our corner?
Yeah.
Was that the end of the game?
It's I don't know, man. At least we got the win, and I'm glad we went down there and we got the win. That's the most important thing, isn't it, Lewis? But let's do the player ratings, and let's go to, obviously we spoke a lot about Kepa, so I'm just going to let Winter Surfer talk about Kepa, because obviously there's a certain someone in the chat that keeps telling us that we're getting muddied at the moment. I mean, what's your thoughts on Kepa?
I'm very close to giving him a 10 because he kept us in that game. He's my man of the match. I know people might say man because he got the goals, but this guy kept us in the game. That shot right at him, the header right at him from Ings, is a world-class save. And yeah, that was. I know Lewis is saying he was waiting for him to be tested. I don't want my goalkeeper really tested like that. I
get you. Do
you know?
But it's like you want to see how he reacts, though, don't you?
I thought it was great. He was great. He did nothing. The only second half is the only thing I could say about him. Second half was when he came for crosses. He was a bit flimsy, trying to play. And that's the only thing. So I'm switching between a 9.5 and a 10 at the moment. I'm going to give him a 10 because he kept us in it. He was outstanding, truly outstanding. So people got a problem with it, and you can't sit and have a problem with me because I don't like Kepa. So I'm giving him a 10. So there's no bias here with me. You know what I mean? He's got a 10. You know what it reminded me of? Sort of less. Do you remember Mendy last season against Brentford when they battered us when we won 1-0 away?
Yeah.
And Mendy was saving even with his head. But Kepa, that outstanding stuff in the first half, kept us in it. And yeah, for me, I give him a 10. So
I'm going to give him it's got to be a 9 or a 10. I can't really knock him, can I? He was great, to be honest. He was so good. Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I spoke about him already. I'm going to give him a 9.5 for me. Lewis?
Yeah, I'll go 9.5 as well. Like, yeah, you could even push to a 10 if you wanted to. He didn't do anything wrong in that match. Saved us, man of the match, all the praise you could give to him. Yeah, 9.5. I've got 9.5.
Okay, cool. So we've got 9.5 there for Kepa. Let's really talk about Cucurella, because I just thought from watching him, and Lewis was there with me as well, actually seeing him physically, I've got to say that has got to be one of the worst Chelsea performances of a player I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, he looked lost. He was running around, not even aware of his positional sense. He wasn't winning tackles. He done a weird header which landed 2 yards to, I think it was Ollie Watkins up front. Like, he just looked so off it. I just didn't get. Was it a positional sense thing? Is it because we're playing him in a role maybe he's just not used to, and it's just not him, and he's just looked really bad in it? But he was a 1 for me. That's how bad he was.
Wow.
He was bad.
Just out of position everywhere.
It was horrible. People were shouting at him. Chelsea fans were shouting at him, "Cut your hair." That's how bad it got.
Going from chanting about his hair. That's mad.
Yeah, and we were chanting. So you know what Chelsea fans are like. 1 minute we're chanting, the next minute we're slagging him off. But, you know, I mean, Lewis, you were there. I mean, it just looked really bad, didn't he?
He got cooked by Leon Bailey, bruv. Cooked. Out of position, all over the place. Yeah, didn't feel like a Cucurella performance, but it was just terrible. It was terrible. You give him like a 1, 2, whatever you want to give him. But it's going to be low all across the board from here, except for maybe Mount.
Yeah, I mean, Winter Surfer. I mean, you're watching it on TV, so what did it look like on TV for you, mate?
It looked like he was confused if he was playing left centre back or left back, because he got out of position a lot. He looked after paced. He didn't look fast at all. He looked very slow, very lethargic. And he was taken off at half time. I mean, that's how bad he was. I mean, he was taken off at half time and Chilwell was kept on, and he was on a booking. So you know what I mean. So. What did you give him? I'm going to give him
1, mate. I thought he was
1. What did you give him, Lewis?
You 1, 2, whatever you want to give him, really.
He was
I give him. You know what? I give him a 2 only because he didn't cost us a goal. So
he was channeling David Luiz, is what.
I like that.
Yeah. Give him a break. I'll give him a break because I actually think he's been quite good this season when he's been coming on. So I'm not going to sit here and slag him off and say he's awful, but it was awful that game specifically. But yeah, he wasn't good, and we're going to stay on that position and go to Koulibaly. I mean, he came on in the second half, a lot more balanced, understood the role better, just aided Silva more. Or what I say, Silva done a lot of work in that first half, having to cover and whatever, and you know, we just looked better with Koulibaly coming in. I just think I know a lot of people criticise him and talk about rivals criticise him and think he's washed and whatever, but I think he's still top quality in my eyes. I think he's good. But he moves the ball quickly. He's sure. He does do the odd stupid tackle when he gets a yellow card and whatever. He got a yellow card yesterday as well. He does have that in him. But you know, I thought he was probably a 7, maybe a 7.5 for me. I thought he was pretty decent, Koulibaly. I mean, Lewis.
Yeah, came on, solidified the defense. They didn't really have as much off the right-hand side when he came on. Yeah, I'd give him a 7. Give him a 7. Came on, did his job expertly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What are you saying on the server?
Yeah, agreed. It was the best. You know, I was screaming for at half time. You got to bring him on because they were getting down our side. So yeah, it was a comfortable performance in the end. Reassured. I'm glad. I thought Thiago Silva was pretty glad he was there.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, 7. Hopefully he starts the next couple of games.
I'm gonna be quick with this one. 9, probably 9.5. Like he always is for me. He's just I can't. I don't want to sit here and keep repeating myself like I have done for the last season or so. But I am very worried to the day that we lose this guy. I am. I don't know. I mean, Koulibaly's came in and he showed that he can maybe do a job there, and then just. This guy is just, especially even in the first half.
Boston will take Christensen back and we'll be fine.
Why do you have to mention that?
No, why do you have to spoil it by mentioning?
Yeah, why? Don't ever put this guy and that guy in the same brackets. This is not.
Oh man, Andreas Cinderella, bruv. The boot fits.
Jesus, I mean, you just killed my vibe.
Turns into a pumpkin before kickoff. That's what happened.
Listen, I have no one. I have no one on my shirt. I've not had no one on my shirt since probably even Eden Hazard. I'm not really fond of any of the players we have, but this guy, I got on my third kit. I've got him on the back of it because he deserves it, mate. He's been unbelievable.
Sure, he's the only one.
When you think about a free transfer, right? Yeah. Has there been any better free transfers in the last 2-3 seasons in the Premier League than what Chelsea got with Thiago Silva? Let's really think about it. I don't think there was many. You know, that's how good he's been. For me, he's a 9. Lewis.
Yeah, did get caught out a bit in the first half. Yeah, that Daniel noticed it as well. Like everybody was poor except for Mount and Kepa that first half. Everybody was. So to me, again, 7 there. 7's a fair one. Much better in the second half. Even in the first half, was one of the better players. Still was sloppy and still did get caught out a few times. So we'll go 7.
No, fuck your 7s, mate. Stuff it. What are you
Well,
saying?
you'll be lucky to get anything higher than that from anybody today.
Yeah, he just
Like,
knows
that
it.
was a shit game from a lot of players.
I know he's great in gym. I know he will never go
I love
below 8 or no. Listen,
Yeah.
I do agree because you can listen. I do agree. A bit parts of the first half he was caught out. I do think that's due to Cucurella as well beside him, so it made him look a bit bad. But I think seven's good. When you talk about a 9 for a defender, I'm thinking about his games earlier against like AC Milan or something like that when he was stuff like that. But I thought he had a solid game throughout. And I was worried when he went down in the second half. Like and he was holding his foot.
Shit myself. I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Really shit
oh
myself.
my god, who have we got? Who's going to be? Is Zachariah going to be an emergency centre back or something like that?
Oh, I don't know what he is. There's no point in even having him. I don't even use him. What's the point of having him in the team? Do you know what? Someone's just brought something back to me, and it's making me feel a bit sick. And I'm going Saturday to Man United.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about not going now because I can't watch that ball fraud refereeing Chelsea Man United.
No, fuck off. Is he actually reffing that game?
Yes, he is. He is.
No,
yes.
I thought people were joking. No, are they being serious? Fuck, fuck off. I'm researching this. Fuck that. No,
he's there. Trust me, I had the same reaction when I got told earlier on. I was like, no, fuck this. Yeah, I can't be doing this. I'm not dealing with it. But anyway, when we move from that, who played Chalobah? I mean, I think Chalobah's been really good for me. I think he's, since Fofana's been injured, he's come in. I think Chalobah's been, he's been. I like Chalobah. I don't get the criticisms of him. Like, I know he has these little moments where he makes mistakes and whatever. I get it. I understand that. But overall, when you look at the overall, I think the good completely outweighs the bad with Chalobah. That's the way I see it with him. Like, I think he's just a very good option and a very good defender to have, and someone that's comfortable playing in the free. And yes, he was a little bit shaky in the first half, like the others were anyway. But second half, he improved and he looked comfortable again. So for me, Chalobah's probably a 7 for me. Some people might give him less, but I think Chalobah was good. What are you saying, Lewis?
Yeah, Chalobah, again, one of our better players. Still got caught out a bit in the first half. 7, same thing.
7s. What are we saying?
Big up the Invincible as well. Let's go.
Yeah, I thought the first half, the combination him and Sterling was not good. Obviously, because Sterling's not a right wing back. So, I agree. I don't get this criticism of him either, especially from like Chelsea fans who praise other Cobham players. This guy has come in and he's solid, man. He's solid, and we're undefeated with him in the team. He's never lost a game. I mean, 29 games unbeaten. So, and he's learning. It's his second full season with us, and after from the second half onwards, he was very solid. Yeah, another good mature performance. So I'm glad to see.
Yeah, 100%. Let's move on. Thick and fast. I want to talk about someone else who seems to be. I saw a comment on Twitter yesterday, and basically someone said Sarri season, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is approaching or has approached us. I think he was very good. I thought he was decent yesterday. I do. I don't know what it is with Ruben Loftus-Cheek at the moment, but he just looks one of our more consistent players, especially in that area where I thought he couldn't play in the 6. And, I'll wait still and hold reserve judgments because I know what these players are like, where they go from chalk to cheese. But, yesterday, again, I thought he got stuck in. He won the ball well. He moved forward well with the ball. He's so strong and quick. He just looks comfortable. It's like he's just grown. He's growing slowly in that role, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. For me, I thought he was probably a 7 for me. I know some people are saying 6 in the chat, but I thought Ruben was decent yesterday. I mean, Lewis?
Probably the better midfielder out of the two. I thought he used his physicality well against the Villa midfield. Again, did struggle in phases, but think he handled it well. I think he handled it well. So we go 6.5. 6.5.
How did he look on the TV, Winter? So is he looking more comfortable in his role?
First half, he had to some time and a half had to go to right wing back. That's how Sterling got his chance in the first half. He had to go over there. I thought he had to do a little more. He had to play more that side to help out because obviously, I think he improved. He improved when that player Daniel mentioned was taken off and Jorginho came on. You saw him then progress the ball a lot more, go on a few more dribbles and everything like that. And that's the part I like. But he is performing consistently. So I think a 6.5, 7, something like that is good. You know, it was a hard game. But I think he was totally the better out of the two midfielders that started. There's no contest. He was the better one.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Which then reverts to us having to have this conversation about Mateo Kovacic, because he's another one that's like, what is wrong with him a little bit? Because it looks like he has a good game, then he has a bad game, then he has a bad game, then he has a good. It's like he's mixed in his own. He's having mixed bag performances from someone that's been, you know, quite important to how we play, especially from the midfield area. I thought he was quite poor yesterday. Mateo Kovacic. He struggled to really get involved and dominate the game and use his progressiveness and do everything that he's good at doing. Is he another one of them players that just lacks consistency, do you think? Or is he maybe just struggling with a bit of form at the moment in himself? Like what do you think the issue is with him? Because for me, he was like a free for me yesterday. I thought he was poor.
My problem is with this pivot is that I think they both have the same mindset in what they want to do. Right. None of them is none of them is a 6 for starters, right? And I agree. I think this knee injury that was reported is playing on his mind a bit more because he doesn't want to miss the World Cup and stuff like that. And I think that's affecting his game. People might say, "Oh, well, he was passing it forward yesterday, went on a few runs." I really can't remember that. I think he was very poor. I was going to go 4, but you went 3, and I'm fine with a 3. I think he gets protection as well, Jem, in this fan base.
Yeah.
He gets overlooked. Oh, you know, well, Jorginho isn't playing well, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, oh, Kante's not there. Kovacic has to take some as well. I think he since the start of the season, he has more bad performances than good.
Yeah.
Since the start of the season, and seeing as he's the more senior person, like playing wise, in that, I think he should have taken more control. But yeah, like I said, I thought when he went off and Jorginho replaced him, Jorginho and Gallagher really shored up that midfield, and we compacted that. Yeah. So that's right. It's Sir Yellow Bus. Whoever's in something.
Well, I just called him. I just said I agree with you, Yellow Bus. I call him Yellow Bus now. Yeah, I agree with Yellow Bus.
Yeah, I was going to go 4. I'm fine with a 3. It wasn't his best, and I like Cover as well. But I think we need to be a bit more honest with a few of these players, including Cover, and not give them a slight about what they've done in the past.
Yeah. The midfield's a bit of an up in the air one, isn't it? Especially going into summer, we know Kovacic, Jorginho, Kante's another one. I mean, Kante, let's not even get into it with him. But Lewis, Kovacic, what's going on?
Yeah. He was the one trying to make risk-taking passes, and they didn't really work out. Did get done a lot more by the midfield. Struggled. I thought, again, Loftus-Cheek was the better one out of the two, really. 6, 5. No, not 6, actually. Yeah, 5. We'll go 5.
I was harsh then. I gave him a 3, but we move anyway. Another one that I really want to talk about and have a serious conversation about is, I know everyone loves him. He's a fan favourite, and, you know, he's, you know, I like Ben. I like Ben Chilwell, don't get me wrong. But there's one thing that really annoys me about him, and it's becoming more evident when I watch him. When we're on transition and we try and move forward quickly and we get it out to the wing, he likes to have about 17 touches before he decides to release the ball. And I'm talking about people making runs off the ball when we need to move the ball quickly, like Cucurella would in that position, because he is a lot more progressive and he looks forward. He completely slows down he's just completely slows down the style of what we're doing. Like we go and he goes backwards or sideways on top of it. He don't ever want to play that ball behind, and he done it a couple of times with Havertz in the first half, but he's just very limited. And when I watched him in terms of his speed, I mean, watching him yesterday on that side in the first half, he was so slow. And I mean, I know he needs time with this injury and whatever else, but he just looks so. He don't look fit to me. I look at him, I'm like, is he actually fully fit? Like, I don't know. I don't think
that recovery from the ACL. Keep saying it takes a lot longer than people expect.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. But you know, should we really be playing in every game in, game out, and forcing Cucurella to play out of position because of it? What are we benefiting from it?
I think it was just for the case of rotation, really. That's why.
Yeah, but he's fighting more games than Cucurella at the moment, and I think sometimes
I would say
do that.
For his fitness, you can talk about the ACL you want. ACL doesn't affect his choice of passing and his decision making whatsoever.
No, but that's why I think the lack of play time has kind of impacted his in-game management.
But I also think, though, and that's not to let him off, because I thought he was offensively. I thought he was absolutely shocking yesterday, Ben Chilwell. Yeah. I don't know though whether you can give credence to who's on that side with him, or whether he doesn't feel confident in trying to give whoever the ball, or what the options were, or something like that. I don't know, but listen, too many times he went up the field and then he turned backwards, and the momentum was all gone. It was all gone. Yeah. It was turn back, pass it sideways, stuff like that. And listen, ACL, it's going to take him a time to recover, but that like I said,
it's like he's scared to just take the risk sometimes. Like, I want him to just.
I'd rather listen. Hit the ball up a bit longer. You know, see what happens. I remember Reece James against Palace didn't have a lot of joy going up in the wing, but then he just started hitting long balls.
It works.
We get some joy out of it. Just try and do that. Maybe if you got Havertz and Aubameyang, that's the better way to service them, instead of trying to pass the ball up to them, short passing, feed off like that. Actually, just go, hey, do you know what, guys? Get in the bloody box. I'm going to whip it in.
Do you know what I think we maybe should have done yesterday? Is just switch Cucurella and Chilwell.
You could have played either at right wing back.
I just feel that defensively, he's bigger. He's probably, and he's not going to be asked to run us. Like what we did with Reece James when he came back from injury, and we were like, oh, don't play him wing back. Let's play him right centre back, because we don't want to get him running up and down the pitch too much, and plus he can do a job. Like, I think Chilwell could do a better job in the in the left centre back role than Cucurella did yesterday, and then you'd see that Cucurella playing off as a wing back would probably be more comfortable, especially on the transition. We would probably look better because he does look forward and he will move the ball quicker in them positions when we're ahead. I just think maybe that switch might have helped yesterday.
Yeah, and I like I said, well, I do take into consideration the ACL and the fitness. I do still take that in.
Yeah.
So, and we don't know. It could take him a year, even from now, just for him to properly fully recover. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's got to change. He might have to find a way. He's got to change part of his game.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis, do you think a switch between Cucurella and Chilwell could have been helpful yesterday, or do you think Chilwell's just a little bit rusty still?
Yeah, both are crap, so I don't see the difference it would make. I just think both weren't that great. It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, fair enough. We move from him, and let's go on to. Well, Raheem Sterling was playing in that position yesterday, so let's talk about Raheem Sterling as a right wing back, and then obviously when he got moved forward. I'll be honest with you guys. I said it yesterday as well when we done the fan cam. I thought he was shit the whole game, and I'll stick with it. I just thought
better
he was
in the second half, poor in the first half.
No, I don't even think he was better
in general.
Even in the second half, he was shit for me. Like, I just didn't really, he had that real good chance that Conor Gallagher done. He didn't have to do anything. It literally was that pinpoint, in between two trees that it landed on his head and he headed it past the post. And that's not his strength, so I get it. But in terms of, using his speed and dragging defences out of position and making runs behind, where the space was, just didn't look interested to me. He just wasn't, he didn't look like he was bothered. It's the way I looked at it when I was watching him. In the second half, I spent a good couple minutes of that second half just watching him and his movement and what he was doing and whatever. And I don't know. I just didn't he didn't just look like he was enjoying. I don't say enjoy. Maybe it was a tiredness thing, fatigue, come back from Milan, going there and play. I don't know. But he just didn't really look up for it for me, And that's why I keep screaming, Broha, take him off, Play someone that's going to have a bit of energy and understand the role better. You know, like give the boy a chance. Because you can't expect Sterling to play every game this season and not have games like he did yesterday. And if he's going to have games like he did yesterday and it's because of fatigue or he's just not up for it and it's not working today, just change it. You've got options now. It's not like we haven't got options to switch around with that forward line. We do. So let's use it. So for me, I would say it was a 4, you know, and that's being kind to me. I'll be honest with you. But how do you feel about him?
I think, listen, I don't care what anyone says. He's not a right wing back. I don't want to ever see him in that position again.
Yeah,
I don't care. I know. He played left wing back against Salzburg. That was a lot different, and he was allowed to attack a bit more. But yeah, listen, I think it's taking him a bit of time to adjust to the new manager and what he wants him to do. Because under Tuchel, he was the main guy, right? He was everything in attack. When we did attack, went through him. Listen, when you saw when he had that chance in the first half, he should have scored. He hit the bar, but he had that chance. He can do that. Had that header in the second half. I do think, though, when they took Uber off and left him up front for about 30 minutes by himself, and we weren't really trying to attack or do anything, he was isolated quite a lot. Listen, I'm 4 or 5. I thought I'm going to go 5 because that's average for me because he was better after the changes were made. But you know, like I say, I think he's got to step up his game again. Whether that's tiredness or not, that can play into effect. I wouldn't even mind seeing him being on the bench against Brentford. You know what I mean? Give him like rotation because we got Man United afterwards. So I think he's in need of that. So, but he stayed on way too long yesterday. I mean, to give Broha 3 minutes is just ridiculous. You know.
I know why he did that, Grandpa. That's one thing that I moaned at Tuchel for doing that, you know, in games, you know, and he kind of done that in my way. He should have done that. He should have changed it earlier. But Lewis, Sterling?
Yeah, I'd say another 5 too. Didn't think he was great, but first half, like, I'm not judging him for playing wing back. Same thing, I won't judge Pulisic for playing wing back either. It's not his position. Second half, do think his end product could have been a bit better. We know we're always going to get that sort of side of Raheem Sterling, but I thought he was a bit better progressively after the positional change. So I'd say 5.
Cool. We move on. 180 of you guys here. Big up to every single one of you guys. Make sure you're smashing the likes, please. Please do that. Please subscribe as well. And let's talk about. All right, let's just quickly talk about Kai Havertz because he only played 45 minutes. So I'm going to be
0.
He wasn't
minus 10
for me. I'm going to give him a 3, but that's just what I'm going to do. Right. So look, he didn't have a great first half, but did any of the forward line have a great first half? Yeah. And how much supply were they really getting in that game? And he did have that one real good moment where he ran through the middle, put a player on the floor, he played it to Sterling on the left, and he hit the bar. Yeah.
It was better than the other 9 times when he was on the floor.
My thing is, in terms of positional sense, and I keep saying this, and I am going to keep saying it with him, and we might not see it under Chelsea. It might just not work with Kai Havertz. And it might be that he goes Bayern Munich for 60 million, 70 million, and he just becomes that player. It could happen.
Oh, imagine.
He could do. He probably will.
Imagine getting 60 million for him. That would be such a great move.
Yeah, you will. You will. Just because of his age and stuff as well, you will. The thing for me is, I think he has to play through that middle for me. I'm not talking about as a number 9. I'm talking about where we saw him in the position where Sterling hit the bar, where he's not being asked to hold the left and play up or down the wing. Because I don't want to see
that in the middle as a number 9 or
no? I want to see him behind the number 9, inside.
You want to see him as wasn't that his position anyway?
And that has always been his natural position. But
wasn't that where he was playing yesterday?
Well, no, he was playing more. He was playing more. He was being told to play more off the wing. I don't know why he was holding the wing so much. I only saw him drift into the middle maybe a couple of times in the game. And I don't know whether it was instructions or how Potter wanted to play the game. But Sterling, when he plays off in that left, holds the wing. And then
other than that assist, anytime I saw him have the ball, he was losing the ball.
Well, he lost the ball a couple of times, and and I agree with that. He's got to be stronger. He shouldn't be doing that. I get that, but
I just think we do all this mental gymnastics to try and find the position that suits him. He's just not good. Just
No, I don't think he's. That's where I disagree.
We go back to the same question that I asked you
Yeah.
weeks ago. On the ball, what's his attributes?
I'm not going down this route again because we played 45 minutes. We played 45 minutes. And I know how hard your agenda is anyway.
No, because again, no one answers this question. Even on my streams, people ignore the question. What is his on the ball attributes?
What do you mean? What is his on the ball attributes? Have you not watched?
What does he do on the ball?
What was he doing on the ball? What was he meant to do on the ball? Tell me.
Something progressive, ideally.
But then, if you want him to be progressive, and look, we've been asked. We played him as a number 9.
The ball.
We've played him as a number 9
minimum. But he's a £72 million player, so I'm asking, what does he bring me?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue, isn't it? Let's be serious. The issue, really, all around this is that he was £72 million, and maybe we shouldn't have bought him when we did. I get that, but I do think
he was a board signing.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to go around those guys. Look, I understand what you're saying. Where I cut the line with Kai Havertz is when we say he's shit, because I don't think he's
shit. We still haven't said what his on the ball attribute is.
Oh, fucking hell, Lewis. We've had this conversation already, mate. I'm not going down this road. I'm not going around this conversation again.
Insane.
Winter Surfer.
Yeah. So I'm convinced. I'm convinced he didn't mean to pass to Sterling. He meant to pass to Oba. That was just a rubbish pass. Listen, listen. I agree with Lewis. I don't know what he does. I think it's a waste of him playing one of the wide positions because he just doesn't do anything. Which then means that you have to play him through the middle. But Aubameyang's, if you give him the chance, Aubameyang's more. Will score.
Did you see when we gave him a shot in the middle? By the way,
but what I'm saying is, if I'm picking out Oba and Havertz,
shoots like a 2-year-old.
I'm picking Oba because he's more clinical than if you give him a chance and Havertz is. So, listen, I give him a 1. Like I said, I agree with Lewis. I don't know when you don't play him down the middle, and even then he's sometimes frustrated. He doesn't bring anything to this game. He doesn't bring himself. He doesn't. I think Daniel put in the chat. He doesn't assert himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he had a cutback put to him on his plate, and he shot it like he was a 3-year-old.
Where was this?
Do you not see the cutback he got in the first half?
And yeah. I remember he side-footed it.
That's what happens when we get him the ball in the middle.
I think he needs. If you're not going to play him down the middle, I don't think you can't play him either side or the guy in the middle.
Don't play him.
Or like I said, if you're going to play him, then play him as a 2.
Havertz justifies all the Pulisic stands being pissy about his lack of game time. Because how Pulisic didn't even get one start after playing better than Havertz has done all season, I will never understand.
I'm telling you right now, though, Jem, if someone comes in January for 40 million, I'm selling this guy. I swear to God.
They come in for 20. I'd pay the EasyJet economy class flight.
Obviously, I think there's a mixture of things with Kai Havertz. I think confidence is one big thing with a young player like him anyway.
He had the confidence to shush the fans after the West Ham game.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe he's not comfortable.
1 GNA and 8.
Yeah, true. And stats is not good. 100%. I agree.
On the ball, he's not good. Eye test, he's not good. No redeemable attributes. That's why no one can tell me what they are. Because there is none.
Well, no, in terms of his attributes as a player and what he's good at doing, I always say with Kai Havertz, to get the best out of him, number one, we have to be creating a lot. And then when we do that, he then needs to be in the box for me. Because when you do find him in the box, I do think that
he hits the ball like a 2-year-old straight back to the Villa.
No, I disagree.
I just want the same people. I want the same people in this fan base to have the same energy for Werner, same energy for Kai like they had for Werner the last 2 years.
Yeah,
this is the exact energy I'm giving.
Remember, I used to even defend Werner at that point, didn't I? So even last season, I used to have arguments about Timo Werner. So my thing is this is it with me with Kai Havertz, and I will say this one more time so everyone understands this. He needs to kick on, but he does also, when he gets given the opportunity to be put in this team, he has to take his chances, because if he does not take his chances and he continues playing the way he did yesterday, where he is not involved. What gets me with Kai Havertz is when he isn't involved in the game, when he doesn't, get around and whatever. When things are going well and we are playing well, I actually think he's very good. I think it does work.
Really, even against Wolves, I thought he was shit.
No,
we won 3-0.
Yeah, but you would, wouldn't you? Because you
No, other than the goal, what else did he do? What was his redeeming? What was his highlights of the Wolves game?
You
Other
just
than
don't
the goal?
like. Wait. You just don't like the specific type of profile of player.
No, I don't like the player because the player is shit and he hasn't done
that's
anything
fine.
since
That's
Porto.
fine. That's how you feel about him. That's fine. That's fine. That's
Again, other than the goal, what did he do in the Wolves game? What was his highlight?
I don't remember the Wolves game, to be honest.
There you go, because there was nothing.
No. I can't remember the Wolves game. I can't remember his performance. I can't really remember the Wolves game.
I remember Mount having bigger moments. I remember Pulisic having moments. I remember Brozier coming on and making a goal for himself.
Anyway, we move on from Kai Havertz because otherwise we'll be sitting here for 20 million years talking to Lewis.
Yeah, trying to find an on-the-ball attribute to praise him with, yes.
Jesus. I wish you had the same energy for Lukaku, living out. Anyway, we
Lukaku
move.
didn't want to be here for half the season.
There we go. And he's
He's
sticks
crap.
up for him. And he still sticks up for him. Anyway, we move. Mason. Mason. What's this? We originally bought Kai because he's a career done.
You know, he was a generational player that could play in multiple positions. It turns out he can only play in the fucking reverse false 10.5 Trek Artista / Mazzala or whatever bullshit.
Chelsea database if Havertz didn't score in Porto or in Abu Dhabi, there would be more hate on him, is what Chelsea database.
Tell him! I wish Werner scored one of his chances. At least we all knew Werner was shit.
Reddit saying, how are you as well?
I'm fine, mate.
Big up.
Anyway, but Mason Mount, because he's another one that's sort of had mixed bag performances. He's looking like he's kicking on now and trying to step up and be counted for, like we have seen in past seasons with him. I thought he was good yesterday. He deserves a 9.5 for me. I'll be honest with you. I thought he was he done what he stood up, and that's what. And this is probably what frustrates everyone with Kai Havertz, because that's what you want him to do. What Mason Mount's doing. When we're not playing well, we need our key players to step up. Even if he isn't having much create for him, make something happen for yourself. Be the different, be the game changer. Make something happen for yourself. Like I get that, I understand that. Mason Mount does do that, and that's what the one thing Mason Mount has about him is the grit. That when he isn't even playing well, he's having moments. He can change it around because he has the grit to make things happen for himself, or be involved, or chase the ball down, or take the pressure off the team, which means him running, all the way back to the defense and winning free kicks and stuff. Like he works, he gets around the pitch, and that's the difference. I mean, and with Mason Mount, he's when you talk about his overall attributes, I keep saying this to people. I don't think he's great at just one thing. I don't look at him as a player that has one real great ability. Really, when you look at him, he's just a player that has the ability to do so many different things, in terms of his work rate, his creativity, his passing, he's working hard off the ball, his vision sometimes. But it's to what level? Because, to have the attribute or have the one attribute or something where you're really good at it, it has to be at a high level, right? I don't think he does that. I think everything's just really good with him. Does that make sense?
Like, no, and I think since the Milan home game, he's really played well. And also I think under Potter, he's been given more of a free role. Allowed to move around the pitch where he wants, stuff like that. And he's really stepped up. And that's all that's people that criticize Mount. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. Some people that criticize Mount don't hate Mount. Okay, they just criticize him for his performances, which is fair, like we do any player. But since Milan game, he's been very, very, very good. Very, very good, in fact. One of the best players there. And like I said, under Potter, he seems to be playing more of a free role. He doesn't stick to a position. He goes out wide, he comes central. He's more harder to pick up. I thought the first goal, his anticipation,
that's it.
Was the better of the two goals for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just quick movement, and it's a great finish. The free kick's the free kick. Mings gave away that free kick as well, Jim. I don't know if you noticed, he gave away that free kick as well.
He's shit, isn't he?
He's crap, man. But you know what? It's the design of these balls, man. You can hit them like that, like that straight, and they just swerve. They just. And I'm glad. And you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. And this is all that we want. And when he plays like this, you can't fault him. And he was great yesterday. I'm going to give him a 9.5, because obviously without him we wouldn't have won as well. But I think you can't discredit him. Every manager we've had since he started has played him. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really go, oh, he's crap or he's shit or something like that. He's got something there. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully Potter now will get the best attacking form of Mason Mount we've seen in a Chelsea shirt. Even better than his 29 goal contributions last season. Do you know what I mean? Start getting. I think you're going to see more of a creator side than even maybe a scorer this season. Because
I just don't really, I don't really get the hate. There's some people that just hate Mason, like don't like him. Oh, we put our Mount starting. Fucking hell, Mount starting. Like I get sometimes he should be dropped because he's not in form, and I understand all that. But you know, he has what we saw yesterday is the ability to just make things happen for himself, like you just said there. Like he just. I don't know. Like, he's just one player that you can't keep down for long.
But you know what though. And Daniel's putting in the chat. He's 23 now, right? He doesn't have to be the world's best at 23 years old. Okay,
True.
He can go. The thing that the most I link it to Lampard is Lampard wasn't the great at 23. He got like from the third season until like it's nearly his last season. He was averaging 32 GNA a season, right? And that I don't expect Mount to do that, by the way, because they're different players. Lampard's more deadly in front of goal, right? But Mount could be another player. Stop comparing. First of all, Chelsea fans, stop comparing him to Lampard.
Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. I don't. Yeah,
just let him be Mason Mount. But I think he can be more of a creator than a goal scorer. I think he's got that in his locker. We've seen it, and I think Potter's the great coach for him to have in terms of getting that attacking potential out of him. But he's been great. He's been great the last 4 games. Very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, Lewis, Mason Mount, you know, you've been quite critical of him. Do you think he's now doing...
Yeah, Mount's turned it round. He's now regularly providing goals and assists. His awareness is a lot better. Reactions are good. Work rate's good. Helped out defensively, was beating players more. Much better from Mason Mount. Perfect example of a player taking the criticism and using it to become a better player. So fair play to him. Deserves all the praise now. This is exactly what we were asking for, and he's now starting to deliver. But yeah, 9.5 for me. Same as Kepa.
Yeah. I think
I've got to bounce as well because I've got to do a video.
Yeah. No worries.
Love.
I think with Mason Mount, it's like what Dan was saying here as well. I think where we've become so heavily reliant of him in the last couple of seasons, it's now that he's set his standard high, and it's like we expect him to be there all the time. And I think we need to take a step back with Mason Mount and understand that he, like you said, he's still very young. He shouldn't be, you know.
He shouldn't be our main guy. That's
maybe
he's been over the last 3 years.
You know, and we should expect a lack of consistency through certain parts because he's still, I say teething problems, but still like becoming the player that he's going to become once he's in his prime. And you need to give that guy that time.
But Jem, the reason why Foden's doing well so right now is because he was allowed to be himself and not the main guy for the last 3 or 4 years. Mount, unfortunately, the way this club has been set up and the team's been set up, everything's been put on Mount, and that's not fair. But then you can't have it like he's so great that you can't criticize him. Do you know what I mean?
There's no middle.
There has to be fairness. There has to be.
There's never a middle on Mason Mount, though. Have you noticed?
No,
when I go on Twitter, it's either one side of the Rick scale or it's the other. There's no one that actually goes, "Oh no, actually, it's a bit of that and it's a bit of that." That's what it is. It's a bit of this. It's a bit of both. Like,
I zone out when someone says he's shit. I just zone out. I can't be bothered. It's like, it's just no point.
I mean, I'm impressed with a bit of Aubameyang since obviously he's been at Chelsea. Obviously, he's doing what we've required strikers to do in the past, which is put the ball in the back of the net. He didn't have the best of games yesterday against Villa. Like I said, I thought he was poo, to be honest. I thought he was really poor. He didn't really get involved, didn't look really interested, a bit like Sterling. What was your thoughts?
I can't even remember him doing any passes, let alone he didn't have any shot or anything.
Yeah.
I thought he was fairly anonymous for 57 minutes till he was brought off.
Yeah.
I agree. What did you give him?
I'd probably give him a 3. Probably. I thought it was poo.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not expecting him to be in the build-up or anything like that, or like in terms of, I'm not expecting him to run around the pitch like go wide or something like he did for Arsenal. That's not his game anymore.
Yeah.
But he might as well have been sitting in the crowd yesterday.
Literally. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and moan too much about him because I think he's been very good. And Milan getaway game, I was there. I thought he was very good. You know, his movement off the ball and whatever. He looked a lot more sharper. And from what I saw there to what I saw yesterday, it was just too chalk and cheese. He just wasn't as interested. And I hope for Man United on Saturday, and obviously Brentford in the week as well, that we find him and he finds his form. But if he's not going to, if he's going to have them games, and granted, players can have these games. You know, we can't sit there and expect them to be great every game. You're going to have these games, right? Then use others. Use what you have. Give other guys the chance to just maybe change the game. And that's why I keep saying about Broha. You know, and I've said it quite a lot on this show today. I keep mentioning Broha. I want to see Broha leading the line. I want to see it one game. You know, give the guy a chance. Let him. You know, once you give him a chance off the bench, he's going to want to, prove himself, show himself, and that's what we need. We need to keep the levels high. When the levels go like that, if players are not playing to their levels, then bring the level back up with players that are hungry, that want to play. So
that's what I think Broha should start against Brentford. I'm agreeing with you. I don't expect him to start against Man United, no matter if he plays well against Brentford, because it's just not that type of thing. But he should be rotated. He should be given more minutes. I think he got like 8 minutes in total with injury time yesterday. It's like, how do you expect him to make an impact or do anything in 8 minutes?
I think Brentford's a great time for him to come in and start. It's the type of game I think he would be quite good in, to be honest. I think that's what we should be.
I think it'll be a more physical game. Brentford. And I think he's more physical than Aubameyang.
Yeah, 100%. Aubameyang gets a free, absolutely most parts. His pass almost cost us a goal. He did. I was right next to that as well. I remember that. It was an awful pass back. Just quickly to finish off, talk about Conor Gallagher, because I thought he came on and changed the game a little bit in the midfield side of it. There was more control once Kovacic come off the pitch. Can't even find the guy at the moment. Where is he? Conor, there you are. I like Conor Gallagher. I know he had a bit of a stinker at the beginning, maybe granted because of where we were asking him to play, but I think Graham Potter's utilising him better. He's playing him more forward. In a role that he's more comfortable in. Good with the ball. Great cross into Sterling on his head. If you can only imagine if that was Broha and that landed on his head, I think he'd probably put that in the back of the net, in my opinion. Yeah. But I like Conor Gallagher. And look, Mason Mount may need rests throughout it, but it seems like Graham Potter likes using them both on the pitch at the same time. And I talk about them both having the ability of something where they're both kind of the same, but they're not in ways. It's like they both work hard off the ball. They both chase around, and that's good to have on both sides of the pitch, and they're good with the ball at their feet. They both cross. Yeah, I like Conor Gallagher, man. I do. I think he's a good player to have in the squad.
Yes, I totally agree. He's not a 6, so don't use him as a 6. This is perfect the way you use him. The way he started against Wolves, the way he was up, when he was further up. And in games like this is what you do when the energy's a bit lacking, or that it's not. It's more of a trying game in terms of you're going to have to get through it instead of going for attack. You bring him on for that burst of energy. He can take the ball up. He can tackle. He can, you can have 2. Then you'll sit 1 sitting or 2 sitting. And he's going to go off and chase down and press. Yeah. That's him. That's him. He's like that. He's a marauding 8. Okay, he can go all around the pitch with being an 8. He's got that, and that's how you play Conor Gallagher. That is Conor Gallagher to a T. Okay. 100%. I think he needs to start. I think he needs to start against Brentford just for rotation purposes to keep the squad fresh. Whether you rest Mount or put him on the bench or someone else like that. I think you do need to start rotating. I know Potter will do that. He will have to rotate because of the injuries and everything like that. But that's perfect. He's a perfect sub as well. And and like what you said there about Mount maybe being rested for a game, which I think we can do, and bring him off the bench, like maybe against Brentford, because we've got Man United on Saturday as well. You could play Gallagher for Mount in that role, in what Mount's playing, and just throw on, if Sterling can't play, you could throw on fucking, I don't know, Pulisic and play Broha up front and just have a bit of rotation. Do you know what I mean? Like, try something a little bit different. Like, you got the squad. The one thing I would say to what Potter has now and what Tuchel had last season is more options now, with the forward more games. He only plays 1 game a week at Brighton. He only plays 1 game a week. Now, he's even said it himself. He's unlike anything he's done before. He's playing every 3 or 4 days.
Get used to it.
You have to rotate the squad. You have to, because they're going to get burnt out. We already had a risk with Mount this week leading up to the game with his thigh injury, and a couple of times yesterday he got a chop down, and you know, everyone, our team would go, no, get back up, because you know, I thought it was going to be an injury. But Gallagher, yeah, I mean, 6.57. I thought he did his job. Really well. It wasn't on there. I know he created that chance, but I didn't think he was put on there to create chances. I think he was on there to do a professional job and compact the midfield.
Yeah, just get stuck in and work hard off the ball, you know, and do your bit. And that's all you can ask from players that come on the pitch. One thing I always stressed about last season is players just working hard. And I don't like players that go on the pitch and are non-existent. And I mean non-existent in terms of that they don't even look like they work. They care. They don't care. They're not running around. They're not working hard. But Conor Gallagher, you know that. Even if he's, you know, brought on for 20 minutes of the game, he's going to work his socks off around the pitch.
Positive impact doesn't have to be an assist or a goal. It can be what he did yesterday. You know,
be effective.
Having that influence.
Yeah. Well, help the team get through it. 1-0. You 1-0 away against a good team, and you need someone to come in and in midfield and help. You know, get stuck in.
We said that when Ramirez was on the bench. Sometimes you bring him on for like just to do that type of job. I know Ramirez is a far better player than Gallagher at the moment.
Love Ramirez. So underrated, wasn't he? Ramirez.
Oh yeah, but we just bring him on and just play that role. You know, something like that. Just I call it. He's more of an upsetter. He's an annoying. It's an annoying role for him to do just to stop. But I thought he did well, and I'm glad he's getting a sort of a mini redemption early in the season from when everyone was like writing him off after. Get
rid of him, selling.
Oh shit, he can't do anything. He's crap.
Yeah. But this is the thing with our fan. I keep saying it. Our fan base is the most reactionary fan base I can think of. Like we could be supporting one player to the next minute, saying, "What does he do? Get him out!" Like. Now, that's not our fault. It's just the fact that they lack consistency in their own performances. And I said on the fan channel yesterday when I was asked, like, what are my expectations of Chelsea and Graham Potter going into like the end of this season now? Because under Tuchel, we were not, you know, it wasn't working, we were whatever. But you know, we've got a game in hand. If we win the game in hand, we're a point behind Man City. We're about 5 points away from Arsenal, who are having a great season, start to the season anyway. You know, I'm not saying that we should start looking at the top and whatever, but you know, I think it's important that I think it's important that we start seeing players be more consistent in their own performances. And when people say to me, well, is it different now because of what Graham Potter's doing? Yeah, Graham Potter's a big part of it, but we saw it with Thomas Tuchel when he came in and how we were winning games, you know, not 3-4-0s, but 1-0s, 2-0s. No one could score against us. You know, we were horrible to play against through that part under Tuchel. You know, we just knew, like, we knew we were going to get one chance and we may score it or two. Like, it for me now not only falls on like formation and the managers anymore. I keep saying this. It's can I trust the players, the current crop of players that I have, to be consistent, game in, game out, in a 38-game season? And you know, we started off 10 games and we're in a decent position. You know, we've had a good 5 games.
I know I know the 2 league games next point, but that Salzburg game Tuesday, Jim. If we win that, we win the group. Do you know how important that is? That against Dynamo Zagreb, we can have like a full rotation of players. And not have to play like all the big guys. They can have like a few days off. But we can actually because like I said, we win that, we win the group. How ridiculous is that after the first two games that we had?
Yeah, 100%.
It's so important that we win it because then we can rotate, we can switch people in and out and give them more of a rest because you've already seen people are dropping like flies at the moment with the injuries and stuff.
It's worrying me a little bit. Losing Reece James was a big one, to be honest. It's not what we needed.
James, Fofana, less said about Kante. He was already out, but less said about Kante.
But do you know what? With the Fofana one, it's like that's a good example from where we were last year to where we are now. Because Chalobah comes in and we still have the same level of performance. Do you get what I mean? Like that continues, and that's what I was stressing about under Tuchel for so many shows. Like. We lose a couple of players in certain positions and we just don't have, we ask players to play out of position and then expect us to be very good and play like we was with a full fit team. It's not going to be the same. But what we've got now and what Potter's got now is options. We get a couple of injuries to some key players here and there. We've got players that can come in and do a job. If Mount gets injured, Conor Gallagher comes in. We lost Fofana. You know, Chalobah comes in. If Thiago Silva gets injured, you move Koulibaly into that position. And then whatever, you know, we have to solve who we play as a left centre back, but that's for another day. But Aspilicueta,
we just go to a back four. And put 3 in the middle.
We have the option to now do the back 4 because we have options of players that can play the back 4.
Yeah.
So it's like we have more with the squad that we can do with it now than what we did under Thomas Tuchel. But now it's like, how are these players going to be consistent? Are they going to show us the same shit that we've seen for the last 2-3 seasons where they just
I thought though that was a bit, against Wolves when we made so many changes, 7. I thought that was a good, it looked good start. The players came in and actually played well. Because before we wouldn't have had that type of performance. They know that, they wouldn't have got picked or something like that. They were only in for that game. But I've always said to you, performance comes second to result. I'm so happy we won yesterday and played rubbish, because I've seen us play rubbish and get panned. Against like Leeds panned us. So and against Southampton, they beat us. We need to. You can say what you want about you got to win against the top 6. We need to win these type of games, because they always cost us these type of games more than actually the big 6 games.
100%. Yeah, I agree. And bigger tests to come for us, more to learn from the players that we have, and can they show us the consistency that then allows us to be more, more competitive in the league, hold the Champions League positions. There's big question marks of these players, especially in certain positions, if they can continue the form. Consistency is probably our biggest downfall, I'd say, in the last 3 seasons, and obviously injuries as well along with it. But consistency from specific players in certain positions of what's let us down in losing games, drawing games, performances being low, and for Chelsea to be at the level that we know that they can play, which we saw against AC Milan back to back. You need them players to be able to play like that, game in, game out. And it's going to be hard, because I know we're playing 2-3 times a week. I get that. And there's a lot of games to be played, and they're going to play like they did against Villa yesterday, but win games, like you said. If you don't want to play well, win games. Keep clean sheets and win games. And if we can continue doing that, we'll find our form again and we'll kick on. But it won't be on the back of losing 3 or 4 games and then finding form. Do you get what I mean? Lose form, wins games still, but don't play well. Yeah, players not all right playing well, but still have the grit to get yourselves through it and win them games and then kick on. That's what we need to see for the next until fucking World Cup.
And let me just tell you something. Wednesday's going to be a tough game.
Oh,
because they battered us last year and we won 1-0. Remember the Mendy performance? He was even saving it with his head.
It's a bit like the Villa performance. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and they battered us at home as well, 4-1. So they battered us twice. But listen. If the result's the same and it's a 1-0 or 2-0 job and we haven't played well, that's fine. Take it. We're on a run. Keep this run going. Because we are stacking up points at this moment in time.
100%. Guys, I was going to open the lines, but it's got a bit late. I've lost the track of time. Hour and a half in, just past 2 o'clock. I've got to shoot, got work to do, got things to do, unfortunately. But I will open up the lines on the next show and get you guys involved and whatever else. We had 150 people here today. Big up to every single one of you guys that have been able to just come in and tune in on a Monday morning, and everyone's working and whatever. It's hard to shows, but I will be a bit more consistent with my shows again. I have to put a little bit of time out, but yeah, big up to everyone. Obviously, Winter Surfer, thanks for joining us, and Lewis as well. We've got Brentford Wednesday, so tomorrow we'll probably do a preview, or Wednesday we'll do a preview. One of them 2 days, I'll let you guys know. We'll do a preview for that game. Listen to what Graham Potter has to say, who's fit, who's not, how we're going to set up, all of that stuff, lineups and whatever, we'll do that. And lots of football to get into. So probably another 2 more shows this week, maybe more because of Man United and Brentford. 3 more shows this week by the looks of it on top of this week. So it's going to be a packed week of shows for you guys. And I look forward to seeing you guys. And hit the likes before you leave. Subscribe to the channel. When I road to 10K, we're on 7.5K at the moment. When I road to 10K slowly. We're getting there slowly but surely. So please subscribe. And we'll see you again probably either tomorrow or Wednesday. See you later, guys. Take care.
Peace.